out there? Welcome back into the GOAT Fantasy Football Podcast. Another episode for you today on this lovely Tuesday afternoon. I'm your host, Jim Neander, with you as always. So, hey, a little later episode today on a Tuesday. I know it's the waiver wire. We got to get the episodes out early, but it is the trade deadline today. Lots of injuries. We're trying to just wait it out and see what happened with some of these, some of these things going on around the league. There's COVID concerns, so a little later in the day today. Sorry about that, but we'll get it cracking here. So yeah, again with the COVID news, Green Bay Packers, you got Jamal Williams out, AJ Dillon out. You got most of their running backs out. So you have Aaron Jones questionable. Now the game is on Thursday, and then you have Tyler Ervin. So we're going to talk about Tyler Ervin later in the waiver wire period of the show. But just so you know, that's what's going on there. No big moves at the trade deadline. Green Bay didn't get any wide receivers. Houston didn't move any of their wide receivers. Nothing really happened there, and really no big injury news that we know of. We haven't really got any clarity on any of the injuries or any of the questionable guys leading into next week. So, for all the waiting around I did today, hoping to give you the most up-to-date information, we really didn't get any up-to-date information. So, later on in the episode, we're going to give you all of our waiver wire suggestions. Rank the guys that we think you should be looking to pick up this week. It's not the most attractive waiver wire, but there are some, 1 week plays, and there's absolutely some guys out there that have, an upward trending arrow for the rest of the season that I think you can look at. So, but we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's knock the rest of these games out real quick. This way we can go right into the waiver wire and get you going here. Get ready for, for the Tuesday night craziness. We're not going to get into that on this show, obviously. But, of course, we know that everyone will be watching something else tonight, not my show. So, okay. Let's pick back up where we left off here. We're going to go to the Miami Dolphins hosting the Los Angeles Rams here. Dolphins, Tua's debut went really well. They won 28-17. Took down, a Rams team that had been surging as of late. And it looked really good doing it. I mean, Tua didn't look very good. It was a really good team effort for the Dolphins. Their defense played really well. And, they were able to hang on here. So, Jared Goff threw the ball 61 times. And because of that, your receivers got what they needed to, your main two receivers. Goff was not very good, though. He had 355 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. He was a bad pick. I mean, he was, someone I was staying away from anyway. I recommended to stay away from him, and that's what happened. Now, Darrell Henderson left the game with a thigh injury. It looks like he's not going to miss any time. But because he did leave the game, he didn't get a full complement of work in this game. He got 8 carries. Malcolm Brown had 10. Cam Akers had 9. They all got a couple of targets. Nothing big out of the backfield there. Shocking considering there were 61 targets. But you'll find out who got them all in a moment. So Darrell Henderson, I believe that the Rams are maybe on a bye this upcoming week. Just keep an eye on it. If Henderson is out, absolutely Brown and Akers are both playable, in that flex position. So keep an eye on it. On the outside here, Cooper Kupp, 21 fucking targets. Holy shit. That's crazy, man. He got 11 balls, only 11 for 110 yards, no touchdowns. So, of course, you got the points that you needed. That's just a crazy stat line. Robert Woods had a great game, 8 targets. He caught 7 balls, 85 yards and a touchdown. Also, ran in a touchdown, continues to just get, 2 or 3 of those rushing touchdowns a year. And, hey, those points count. On a week like this, you're very happy to get that extra, that extra little jolt, for your team there. Josh Reynolds, pulled his own 9 targets. He caught 4 balls for 44 yards. I don't expect him to throw 60 times typically. So Josh Reynolds, I don't expect him to get that kind of work normally. And then you had Gerald Everett, the tight end, 9 targets, 5 catches, 32 yards. Now he had 9 targets compared to 4 for Tyler Higbee. Continues to be bad news for Higbee owners. No bueno there, no bueno. All right, let's go over Dolphins and Tua. Tua was 12 of 22 for 93 yards and 1 touchdown. He ran the ball twice, 0 yards on the ground. I thought there was going to be, for sure, some more groundwork for Tua in this game. But we'll see if that's really going to be a part of his game plan or not. Myles Gaskin ran the ball 18 times, 47 yards and a touchdown. The touchdown, got you what you needed. He wasn't as involved in the passing game. I mean, all right, so let me take that back. He had 6 targets. He led the team with 6 targets. So he caught 3 balls for 16 yards. So yeah, to say he wasn't involved is wrong because he led the team in targets, but didn't get the same kind of work that you got with Fitzpatrick there, and neither did any of the receivers. So let's see here. Preston Williams led the way with 5 targets, caught 2 balls for 15 yards. You had a couple of targets for Devontae Parker. He looked terrible. 1 catch for 3 yards. Thank God it was a touchdown. Only thing that saved you there. But the Dolphins are going to be pretty ugly looking going forward. I'm not sure what kind of trust I have in any Dolphins with Tua under center. And we'll just have to talk about that in the preview show. But for right now, I'm definitely sweating it if I got, hopefully I'm not counting on Dolphins too much. But hey, if you got Dolphins on your squad, I'd be a little bit worried right now. All right, let's move to that game of the week here. Pittsburgh at Baltimore. Pittsburgh goes on the road, beats the Ravens to remain undefeated, 28-24. Great game here. Really delivered. Just from a fan standpoint, right? It was a really awesome game to watch. And for fantasy, you got some points rolling too. Big Ben on the road, bad weather. Again, wasn't somebody I was recommending. 182 yards, 2 touchdowns. Wasn't an awful game. If you wound up playing him, it was fine, but wasn't very good. James Conner, 15 for 47 and a touchdown. Another 3 receptions for 13 yards. That touchdown obviously, kind of saved his day there. But really tough, Baltimore front 7. That's about as good as a game you could hope. You got the touchdown. That's what you needed. All right, Chase Claypool led the way in targets here after Deontay Johnson went out early. Claypool got 9 targets, caught 5 balls, 42 yards and a touchdown. So, Claypool owners, we're glad to see him. We're happy to see him getting involved again after a week of not being involved. The question is, was it only because Deontay Johnson was out on the field? And would that, continue if Deontay Johnson were on the field? We don't know. So, stay tuned. I think Deontay Johnson is supposed to be healthy again for how many minutes or quarters, we'll see. Juju, back to relevance here again. 8 targets, caught 7 balls for 67 yards, kind of a slow start, and then got it rolling there. You like to see, maybe take some bigger risks with Juju down the field, but for now, you'll be happy with whatever volume that you're getting. And again, Deontay Johnson only had 3 targets, 1 catch, 6 yards, was knocked out of the game. Came back very, very, very late in the game for a couple of targets. But, it's just crazy. This guy's got to stay healthy. It's the only way he can really, be valuable when he's healthy. He's, getting 10, 12, 13, 14 targets, but he's got to stay on the field. And Eric Ebron. Eric Ebron's going to be somebody you're going to hear about a little bit later also. 5 targets, caught 4 balls, 48 yards and a touchdown, becoming more involved in the offense here. And again, I don't know how much of that was because, Deontay Johnson was gone, missing those short routes across, right over the middle of the field, but like to see Eric Ebron getting more involved, and I think he's absolutely somebody that you might want to think about if you're struggling at the tight end position. Let's go over to Baltimore here. Lamar Jackson, 13 of 28, continues to struggle with accuracy. It was a tough game to throw the ball, but still, he made a lot of really bad passes. 208 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 picks, 65 yards on the ground. Obviously, that really helps. 6.5 points, raises that baseline up, pretty well. Let's see where Lamar finished for the week just to get an idea. Looks like quarterback 18. I mean, that's not going to do it for you, right? But hey, what are you going to do? The 2 picks hurt. Either way, Lamar, you're going to keep playing him because of the upside. You drafted him high. You got to just kind of roll it out. They did just lose their top offensive tackle, Ronnie Stanley. That's going to hurt everybody a little bit. To how much we don't know, but I would expect the rushing attack to just take a little ding down without Stanley there. Okay, so without Mark Ingram, J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards led the way. Basically a split as far as carries go. You had 15 for Dobbins, 16 for Edwards. They were both really good with their carries, but Dobbins, the rookie, was definitely better. 113 yards for a 7.5 yard per average. So he looked, really, really, good running the ball. Neither one of them was very involved in the passing game. As you saw, there were only, 13 completions, I think, out of, 28 targets. But he did have a couple of targets for Dobbins and 1 for Edwards. Now, Edwards had 87 yards of his own, and he also scored a touchdown. So he actually was just a little bit more valuable when you add the touchdown in there. But to next week, if Mark Ingram is out, both these guys are playable. The issue was always that there was 3 mouths to feed potentially. You didn't know which one was which. Now, if there's only 2, I'm fine playing them both because of how heavy they are with the run. So yeah, losing Ronnie Stanley might hurt, but I'd still be willing to play both of these guys, assuming that Mark Ingram is out. Let's go to the outside here. Willie Snead had a really nice day. Led the way with 7 targets, caught 5 balls, 106 yards. He's been, pretty much the wide receiver 1 on this team for most of the year. You had Miles Boykin get 3 targets. You had Devin Duvernay get 3 targets. And then only 2 for Hollywood Brown. Thankfully, he caught one of them for 3 yards and a touchdown. Just wasn't involved. Apparently, we might have a little squeaky wheel situation here. He's been complaining he's not getting the ball, which is absolutely true. Who knows if that's going to help or not. But, Hollywood does not seem to be very happy. And Mark Andrews, another tough game. Caught 3 of his 6 targets for 32 yards. That doesn't get it done for you if you're a Mark Andrews owner, especially where you drafted him. Obviously, you're still happy you didn't draft Ertz, I guess. But Andrews just, not getting it done a number of weeks this year so far. So, all right, let's keep it rolling here. We're going to go through this fast. I want to get to these waiver wires here and let you guys get rolling. We got a big night ahead of us, like I said. All right, what do we got here? 5 games left. All right. I can count. All right. Let's go to these 4 o'clock games. The Los Angeles Chargers travel to Denver. Really good game here. Some great quarterback play by the young guys. Denver came back at the last second to win 31-30 on a 1-yard pass to KJ Hamler, the rookie, to win the game. Drew Lock looked really good. Let's talk about these Chargers here, though. So, Herbert, 278 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, 21 yards, on the ground. Those 21 yards take away one of those interceptions, but the 2 picks, it's going to happen. You're a rookie. He's throwing the ball a lot, 43 attempts. You're not worried about it. He looks great. The only question is, I think they have a good schedule coming up. So I think you're pretty much rolling him out there on a weekly basis at this point. Matchup be damned. You're playing Herbert until there's a reason not to. So I've got a league where I've got him and Aaron Rodgers. I refuse to drop either one of them. They're really not worth too much in trade bait because it's a 1 QB league. So I try to put him out there, not getting much offer. So I got to struggle every week and figure out who to play. Let's go out to these running backs here for the Chargers. The big question was, will it be a Justin Jackson game or will it be a Joshua Kelly game? And the fact is, it was a Justin Jackson game, but it was also a Troymaine Pope game. And then to a much lesser extent, Joshua Kelly was involved as the 3rd wheel. So let's break it down here. 17 carries for Justin Jackson, 89 yards. You like that? 5 targets, caught 3 for 53 yards. Adding, padding those stat lines. You like to see it. Didn't get in the end zone. That would have made it a really, really nice game for Justin Jackson. But looks like he's going to be the number 1 going forward. Now, Troymaine Pope had 10 of his own carries for 67 yards. So really, really good with his 10 carries. Also had 7 targets. Caught 5 balls for 28 yards. I mean, a lot of freaking targets. Josh Kelly, odd man out, 7 carries, 32 yards, 1 target, was the 3rd wheel there. And, if you got Josh Kelly, I think you can drop him. I know that's scary, but, maybe next week it'll be a Josh Kelly week, not Justin Jackson, but I don't think so the way this game looked. All right, on the outside here, target leader, Keenan Allen, 11 more targets, caught 9 balls, 67 yards, and a touchdown. Continues to be great with Justin Herbert, and, you're happy about it. Number 9 wide receiver on the week in PPR. And then you had Mike Williams, who was the number 11 wide receiver. So 2 wide receiver 1s out of this week for the Chargers. 8 targets, 5 catches, 99 yards, and a touchdown. Some really nice grabs. You got to have balls play Mike Williams, and that's the problem. It's big boom or big bust, right? Big bada boom, or you get the big fucking bust, and you get maybe the donut. So I don't know, man. You gotta have the huevos if you want to roll out Mike Williams. And then Hunter Henry, listen, caught all 4 of his targets for 33 yards. It's, it just doesn't do it for you, right? 4 targets is not enough unless you get into the end zone. He's still hard to bench, but, he's not getting it done for you right now. Even though Herbert is killing it, right? He's just throwing so much to the wide receivers. He just looks good out there. And then Drew Lock, man. Probably maybe his best game as a pro. 248 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. But he did have that, again, that last second, clutch touchdown there, win the game. So a great win for Drew Lock. I don't know if he's starting to move into streamability for me, but maybe you look at the matchups and maybe you think about it. But I'm off for now. They scored 3 touchdowns in the fourth quarter. I got to wait and see him do it again. Philip Lindsay only had 6 carries, but 83 yards with a touchdown. Had that long 55-yard run. And, continues to look better than Melvin Gordon, on a weekly basis, basically. Gordon carried the ball 8 times for 26 yards. Not very good. Now, Gordon continues to be much more involved in the passing game, and that's the problem. Well, at least for, Philip Lindsay owners, because you had 7 targets to Melvin Gordon. 6 catches for 21 yards. Didn't do shit with it. Lindsay was targeted 3 times, caught 1 pass for 3 yards. So they were both, pretty bad catching the ball out of the backfield. But 7 targets, Lindsay, if Lindsay starts to get a little more of that work and just, the divide gets a little bit bigger in work and snaps for Lindsay, he'll probably be a running back too. But for right now, Melvin Gordon is holding him back, and I don't expect it to change. They're both going to get, about an equal workload. So there you go. On the outside, rookie Jerry Jeudy led the way with 10 targets, 4 catches, 73 yards. Now, Tim Patrick was out in this game. We don't know if he'll be back. But Jerry Jeudy, if Tim Patrick is out, is absolutely someone to keep an eye on for this next game here. Deshaun Hamilton, 5 targets, caught 4 for 82 yards and a touchdown. So nice game for Deshaun Hamilton. But again, Tim Patrick comes back, and I think that, Deshaun Hamilton, gets relegated again to being the, 4th or even 5th wheel on this team. I mentioned KJ Hamler, the rookie, caught the touchdown, but quiet game other than that, only 3 targets, 3 catches, 13 yards. Now, tight ends. Albert O kind of, disappeared this game and gave it all back to Noah Fant. So maybe Fant is, we're all back in on Noah Fant. 9 targets, caught 7 balls for 47 yards. The 9 targets, the magic number. You want to see targets. And, if he's going to get the targets, then he's going to have to be a tight end 1, every week. As long as he's getting the targets, you're a tight end 1. So, we like Noah Fant again. It's all right. There's injuries throughout the year. It happens. Just got to keep up with it, And guys will go up and they'll go down. Their arrow will trend a number of different ways throughout the year. And we just got to keep up with it. All right. Ooh, this was a decent game, too. The Saints took on the Bears. They traveled to Chicago and beat them 26-23 in a game where they had to come from behind to win this game. Again, Drew Brees without any of his weapons, no Michael Thomas, no Emmanuel Sanders, no Marquez Callaway. So, who was going to catch the ball? You know who. Alvin motherfucking Kamara, by far the target leader. So, Brees, in a game, in a tough matchup, on the road against good defense, 280 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. So, really good game for Brees. Very nice. Alvin Kamara only ran the ball 12 times for 67 yards, but he did catch the ball 9 times on 13 targets. That is crazy, just spamming, targets to the running back. I'm not sure what the defense is doing here. 9 catches for 96 yards. And even without getting into the end zone, he's absolute stud. Latavius Murray, I thought, would get a little bit more play this game. He did not. He got 8 carries, 17 yards, and then he had 3 targets. So, he had 11 opportunities. Didn't do much with them, though. 17 yards rushing, 3 catches for 14 yards. Now, who caught some of these other passes? It was Traquan Smith, the return of Traquan Smith, 7 targets, caught 5 balls for 43 yards. Not a great game by any means, but he was the target leader. Taysom Hill, yeah, you love hearing that name. Had himself a decent game. He had 5 carries for 35 yards. He had 2 receptions for for 30 yards and a touchdown. Fucking A, man. I got 11, 14 and a half points for Taysom Hill. I got to know where that put him on the week. I just have to know. Let's see. All right, not on the first page. That's good. I don't know where he is. Is he not on here? Oh, because he's a quarterback, so he didn't show up. My bad. Well, he would have been like wide receiver 27, I guess, with those 14 and a half points. Or he would have been running back 15 with those 14 and a half points, but got to play him as a quarterback, and so he sucked. All right, I digress. And then, Jared Cook had a really nice game here. 7 targets, 5 catches, 51 yards and a touchdown. You knew Cook would get a little bit more work with the lack of other options here. But really nice game for Jared Cook. And even when, Thomas comes back and Sanders as well, I still think that Jared Cook is going to be, a nice weekly option. Limited ceiling, but nice floor. And then Chicago. Nick Foles threw for 272, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception. Not a bad game, but, not great either. David Montgomery, 21 for 89 on the ground. Also caught 2 of his 5 targets for 16 yards. So, he had some moments where he looked pretty good running the ball today, but didn't get to the end zone, didn't catch enough of those balls. All in all, a little bit disappointing, but, the floor is always there when you have that many touches, right? So that's why you like him. Anthony Miller was the target leader in today's game. 11 targets, caught 8 balls for 73 yards, and just one of those guys where, as soon as you pick him up on the waiver wire and play him, it's going to be a Darnell Mooney week or just a monstrous Allen Robinson week. Just seems to be what happens when you want to play Anthony Miller. So I'm really not highly recommending it, but very nice game for him. Allen Robinson did have 7 targets, caught 6 balls for 87 yards and a touchdown. Great game after being doubtful all week. Hopefully, Allen Robinson owners played him. I recommended to play him. Wasn't worried about the concussion coming back in, so hopefully you got him in the lineup. And then Darnell Mooney, the rookie, continues to really excel. 6 targets, caught 5 balls for 69 yards and a touchdown. Going to be hard to keep ignoring this guy and not having him out there. Jimmy Graham got the targets. 7 targets, only caught 2 balls for 13 yards. So very disappointing game for Jimmy Graham. But what are you going to do? He's still getting the targets. I mean, you're to tell me that my tight end gets 7 targets in the game, and I'm going to say, yeah, he's going to be in my lineup. So not always going to work out, but I think you got to trust the process there with going for the targets at the tight end position. All right. How are we doing time here? Not bad. All right. Ooh, another really nice game here. So, San Fran traveled, to Seattle, played the Seahawks, divisional game. 5-1 Seahawks taking on the 4-3 Niners, and they beat them 37-27. And unfortunately, San Fran, big injury no-nos here. Jimmy Garoppolo out 6+ weeks. George Kittle out 8+ weeks. So we're gonna get Nick Mullins, who looked fantastic in the 4th quarter. He scored a ton of points just in that 1 quarter. Who knows? It's desperation time. Seattle might have been playing a little soft, but either way, I don't know that I downgrade most of the whatever weapons are there for San Fran moving forward. And we'll talk about it more in the preview shows on Thursday and Friday. But I'm not necessarily that worried about San Fran's offense. So JaMychal Hasty, 12 carries, 29 yards, but he did get into the end zone. So 12 for 29 and a touchdown. And then you also added 1 reception for 2 yards. But thankfully, the touchdown was there. Tevin Coleman got into the game, looked pretty good in the beginning, 3 carries for 20 yards, and then got knocked back out with another injury. I do think he'll be out this upcoming week, and I do think JaMychal Hasty, while he didn't look great, is going to get 1 more week to try to bang it out. So we'll talk about him just a short while as well. Let's go to the outside here. Brandon Ayuk, the rookie, great game, 11 targets, caught 8 balls for 91 yards and a touchdown. Hey, we told you to play Ayuk. He was, going to be primed for targets, with Debo out, and he's just getting more involved as it was anyway. Kendrick Bourne, 10 targets, 8 for 81. Not sure how much I'm on Kendrick Bourne right now. I've mentioned him each of the last couple of weeks And if you played him on a lark last week, fantastic. But, I'm still a little stressed out about that. And, Kittle, 2 catches on 4 targets for 39 yards before he left the game with an injury. That really, really hurts. So, Kittle's out for 8 weeks. Jordan Reed was on the IR. He's designated to return, but he hasn't returned yet. And they play on Thursday right now against Green Bay. I say right now because obviously Green Bay has some COVID issues. It can always be moved back. But for now, they are playing on Thursday Night Football. And I think, Ross Dwelly's a sneaky pick. I'm not expecting him to be anywhere near obviously what George Kittle can do. But someone's going to be out there. And if Reed is hurt, I would totally play Ross Dwelly if I was a George Kittle owner. I don't see why I wouldn't. Seattle, all right, some big games in Seattle here. Russ doing it again, 261 and 4 touchdowns, no interceptions, of course. 23 yards on the ground just to add a couple more points, and he's just fucking killing everybody, man. He's amazing. He's absolutely amazing. Mr. Unlimited doing it again. DJ Dallas, listen, I told everybody, if Chris Carson is out, we already know Carlos Hyde is out. If Carson's definitely out, you want to play DJ Dallas. He wasn't amazing, 18 carries for 41 yards, 2.3 yards a carry, not very good, but he got a touchdown on the ground. Also added 5 receptions for 17 yards and a second touchdown. So, you're very, very happy with DJ Dallas, the number 4 running back on the week. Tied for number 3, actually. So let's put that respect on him. Tied with Gio Bernard as the number 3 running back on the week. So very, very nice there. And again, we don't know what's happening in Seattle, but hold on to DJ Dallas. Don't just drop him at the waiver wire this week, because if he gets one more week of play, you're going to be happy that you have him and you're going to want to use him. So keep him in there. Keep him on your bench through the waiver wire here. Chris Carson hasn't cleared. He's still questionable. I do expect him to be back. But, I think it's worth holding on to DJ Dallas just for, through the waiver wire. DK Metcalf, fucking animal. We talk about it almost every week, but guy is a beast. I don't know how you guard him. I don't know how you try to defend against this guy. Definitely not with one person. I understand that leaves Tyler Lockett open for, monster games like he had, last week, but got to pick your poison here. 15 targets went DK Metcalf's way. He caught 12 of them for 161 yards and 2 touchdowns. And you can't, you're not as fast as he is. You're not as big as he is. You're not as strong as he is. What are you going to do about that? I don't know. Tyler Lockett, disappointing game, but, this is the life. I mean, this is one of those things where you should have just got them both, and you play them both every week because one of them will cover the other if it's a big week for one of them. So, 4 catches on 5 targets for 33 yards. Let's hope next week Tyler Lockett feasts again. David Moore caught another touchdown. Only targeted 3 times, but caught a ball, 18 yards and a touchdown. So, nice little game there. Tight ends, not involved here. 4 targets for Greg Olsen. So, wait, not the end of the world, 4 targets, but he caught none of them. Fucking 0. Goose egg. He played Greg Olsen. I thought he was a decent, little outside start just for some points. No, didn't work out that way. You played Greg Olsen, you were fucking angry. And hopefully you didn't do it on my recommendation. That's all I can say. All right. Let's go to the 2 night games here. Oh, fucking Cowboys, Eagles. Both these teams suck. I mean, royally. I know people are going to be joking around all year about they should give up their playoff spot and shit like that, but no, really. It's bad. It's probably going to be a sub-500 team that makes the playoffs from this division, and that's a little bit messed up, but hey. So, Ben DiNucci for the Cowboys. The Cowboys lose 23-9, by the way, in Philly. So, the Philadelphia Eagles, 3-4-1 leading the division. They might get to 500. I might be a little too harsh on them. Ben DiNucci, only because they get to play 6 games inside the division. So, yeah. All right, DiNucci, your debut start. 21 completions, 40 attempts, 180 yards. Sacked 4 times. Did run for 22 yards on 5 carries. Very tough start. Different beast here in the NFL, man. Hopefully got a little bit adjusted here in that first game. Excuse me, but I'm not expecting a ton out of him, moving forward right now. Dalton apparently was just moved to the reserve list, the COVID list. and that doesn't look good. So we're going to get at least one more DiNucci start. Pretty brutal. Zeke Elliott, listen, still got the work because he got 19 carries, but only 63 yards. They were not, in scoring position really at almost any time. He caught one of his 2 targets for 10 yards. I mentioned it on the preview shows that I was very worried about Zeke being able to maintain a running back 1 classification, with DiNucci out there, even with Dalton, but definitely with DiNucci. And it was a really bad game. 66.37, 8.3 points. That shit doesn't do it. Tony Pollard, 7 more carries, 40 yards, 2 receptions for 24 yards. So he outscored Zeke Elliott just by a short amount. 4.4, 8.4 points for Pollard. So none of that shit is okay. Michael Gallup, I don't even want to fucking deal with this right now. 12 targets, caught 7 for 61. I don't care. I have to give it up. I lost that one. I said Michael Gallup would be great this year, and I'm going to go ahead with the fact that he would have been had Dak Prescott stayed healthy, even after a slow start, but he didn't, and now he won't. I've actually dropped Gallup in 1 league, so, yep. CeeDee Lamb, 5 targets, 4 catches, 27 yards. Amari Cooper, 5 targets, 1 catch for 5 yards. Kept me in one of my games for quite a long time. I lost by less than a quarter of a point. Praying for a stat correction tomorrow, but we'll see. A bad game for Amari Cooper. We'll see what that means going forward. Dalton Schultz, 8 targets, 6 receptions, 53 yards. We'll talk about him in a little while as well, but he could be back on the radar, all right? Ooh, back on the radar. Woo. All right, so Philly, Carson Wentz, you fucking dog. 123 yards passing, 15 of 27. 123 yards passing, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and then 17 yards on the ground. Everyone wanted to play Carson Wentz here in a smash matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. He didn't have a lot of his weapons, yada, yada, yada. He had enough of them. Should have done decent against the Cowboys, but he really didn't. Boston Scott, he came through for you. 15 carries for 70 yards. 2 receptions, 9 yards. Again, not a great game, but just about 10, PPR points. It was enough. If Sanders is out, you're playing Scott again. That's it. I don't think Sanders is going to miss another game. I think Philly's on a bye this week, and then he'll be back. All right, let's go to the outside here. Travis Fulgham continues his hot streak. 7 targets, 6 catches, 78 yards, and a touchdown. Just short of 20 points and looking really good. The rookie Jalen Reagor back in action here. Targeted 6 times, caught 3 balls for 16 yards and a touchdown. Nice to see him worked in, and he's definitely going to be a popular waiver wire pickup for a lot of people this week had he been let go. I grabbed him a week earlier. Didn't know he was going to come off of IR. So, hopefully you're smart like me. 23-9 Eagles. That was just a bad game. I don't know how they didn't take that game off of primetime and put the Pittsburgh-Baltimore game. I mean, I get it. It's Dallas. You got a big fan base, all that good shit. But still, who wanted to watch that hot garbage NFL? All right, what do we? All right, gotta get this done here. All right, Tampa Bay and New York Monday Night Football. Tampa Bay goes into New Jersey and beats the Giants 25-23, just barely hanging on. The Giants failed on a 2-point conversion with no time on the clock to tie the game. Tom Brady escaped. 6-2 for the Bucks, 1-7 for the G-Men. So 1-15 for the Giants and the Jets combined. Holy crap! Let's start in Tampa. Tom Brady looking good still, even without a lot of his weapons. 279 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interceptions. Really solid, workman-like day there. Ronald Jones fumbled the ball and then fumbled the rest of his day away. 7 carries for 23 yards. So not a great game for Ronald Jones. Again, he lost that fumble, and Arians didn't really want to play him that much after that. He did catch all 4 of his targets for 23 yards. So, 8.5 points or so in PPR. It hurt. It didn't absolutely kill your team, but it definitely hurt. Leonard Fournette, 15 carries, 52 yards, Caught 3 of his 6 targets for 19 yards. I figured he'd be targeted. I mean, 6 targets. I'd like to see him do a little bit more with it. But, not a great game. Not a terrible game. He's over 10 points in fantasy PPR points. What do you do? Ronald Jones continues to literally fumble his opportunities away. All right, let's go to the outside here. Jaden Mickens, the target leader. 8 targets for Jaden Mickens. 5 catches, 36 yards in Godwin's absence. Mike Evans, 7 targets, 5 catches, 55 yards, and a touchdown. And then what we have? Scotty Miller. Yeah, I told you I didn't want to play Scotty Miller. 6 targets, 3 catches, 35 yards. Ooh, every time he has a chance, without, one of the big guys, he doesn't come through. He needs them on the field to take away the attention, and then he can do well. So, not very good. Rob Gronkowski got back into the end zone, 4 targets, 4 catches, 41 yards, and a touchdown. Again, I've already eaten my crow here. I already said Rob Gronkowski. I fucked up. You're looking good. Great. My bad. You're still not like, 5 years ago, Rob, but, you're still playing really good. All right, let's go to the Giants here before we get to the waiver wire here. Daniel Jones, 256 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, another 20 yards on the ground, but just makes the bad plays at the bad times. Was it awful for fantasy? Definitely wasn't very good by any means. Let us see. Is he not in the top 25? Weird. Where is he? No, that doesn't make sense. No, he had more points than Tua and Baker. All those guys. What the hell's going on here? There he is, number 16. Why can't I find him? That's not that bad. He was better than Lamar, better than Ben Roethlisberger, better than Josh Allen. So, wasn't that bad. Wayne Gallman wasn't that bad either. I told you to play Wayne Gallman. 12 carries, 44 yards and a touchdown. You got to get the work. You got the touchdown. That's what you needed. 1 catch for 18 yards. Wasn't a great game, but got you, 13 or so fantasy points. And you're absolutely fine with that. And you know why you're fine with that? Because those points made him the number 18 running back on the week. That's a strong RB2, and you had to be happy with that. All right, let's go to the outside here. Sterling Shepard, 10 targets, 8 receptions, 74 yards. Very nice game. Nice targets there. Darius Slayton targeted 9 times. Caught 5 balls for 56 yards. But Golden Tate comes away with a touchdown. Targeted only 3 times. Caught 2 balls for 31 yards, including that beautiful 19-yard catch in the end zone from Golden Tate. But it still looks like it's Shepard, Slayton, and Tate as far as the hierarchy goes. Then Evan Ingram pulled 10 targets, caught 5 balls for 61 yards, 11.1 points. So I get it. He's still getting targets like he always has. Tight end 7 on the week with those 12 points. Okay. Why he had 9 yards rushing? Okay. I was like, why 12 points? So, fuck, man. I don't want Evan Ingram on my team. That is just the truth. I just don't want it. So, all right. That was the end. That's it. That's it for week 8. Good week. Not the worst with injuries. Could have been better. Could have been worse as always. What are you going to do? Now, let's look forward here to week 9. Let's talk some waiver wire pickups here. Now, Thursday night, we got Packers and the Broncos. And then as far as bye weeks go, we have Cincinnati, Cleveland, the LA Rams, and the Philadelphia Eagles on bye. So, good amount of running backs, some receivers. It's going to be thin. That's Joe Mixon and or Gio Bernard, Kareem Hunt, Darrell Henderson and or maybe, Malcolm Brown. And then in Philly, whoever the running back is, plus Fulgham. It's tough. But, all right, so let's get to our waiver wire here. Let's talk about running backs first. There's a bunch of guys that are 50% or less in Yahoo leagues that I think are, worth a crack for different reasons. Damian Harris, Tyler Irvin, DJ Dallas, Eno Benjamin, Jermichael Hasty, Gus Edwards, Nyheim Hines, and Wayne Gallman. So let's break this down a little bit here. We don't know about injuries yet. So in the case of a guy like Wayne Gallman, if Devontae Freeman comes back, Gallman is not, usable. For Tyler Ervin, if Aaron Jones plays, then Tyler Ervin is probably not, playable. We just don't know, those answers. If Chris Carson is healthy, DJ Dallas is probably not playable. So, some of these have some caveats there. I do think that if, Freeman is out, you're going to want Gallman, you're going to want to play him. I think if Chris Carson is out and Carlos Hyde is out, you're going to want DJ Dallas and you're going to want to play him. Tyler Ervin, if Aaron Jones is out, there are no other running backs alive in Green Bay, you're going to want to play Tyler Ervin. So, keep an eye on the injuries. You got those things going. Now, let's talk about some other players. JaMycal Hasty for San Fran, also playing in the Thursday game. Tevin Coleman, probably won't play in this game. Raheem Mostert's already out. It's basically just, it's JaMycal Hasty's backfield with Jerick McKinnon, kind of working the passing downs, as it were. So I like Hasty in this game a lot. I think someone that, if you're just looking for a play for this week, and he's still out there, he's 42% owned. I think you grab Hasty, you play him on Thursday, you're going to like it. Now, another good pickup that's good for this week, but I think is my favorite rest of the year pickup for running backs, is absolutely Damian Harris. 48% owned, so pretty much right on that cusp, I get it. But Damian Harris is somebody I picked up in a couple of leagues a couple of weeks ago. And he's got 200-yard games in a row. The offense is bad. I don't know if they're going to stay with Cam Newton or not, but either way, you got to see what you have. I always say that. You got to see what you have. So Damian Harris, they're going to let him run for sure. Maybe he'll get some work into passing. Probably not that much. But I think they're going to have him out there to see what they have with him and see what he can do while he's out there. So, there is that situation there. Who does the Patriots have this week? Let's see. Oh, nice. Pretty nice matchup here. The Patriots are playing the Jets in New York. I know it's not like, there's no defense out there. You can just do whatever you want. But I think the Patriots are going to be able, to score a lot on the Giants on Monday night. Maybe they'll be able to get right in that game. So I do like those guys. I definitely like, Damian Harris. It's my favorite rest of the year waiver wire pickup for running backs. And he's also a very good play for this week. So let's go over some wide receivers here. Marvin Jones just broke over the threshold. He was 51% owned. Now, I do want to bring up Marvin Jones because I want to bring up Marvin Hall, right? So, yeah, Marvin Jones might be the number one wide receiver in this game for the Detroit Lions. But, Marvin Hall, if there's more attention on Jones, we saw Hall make a really big play in this game. He had 4 catches for 113 yards. He's 0% owned. So in DFS, I love him on the cheap, but I do think that you can be sneaky and play Marvin Hall instead of Marvin Jones. And maybe you make the right call, maybe you don't, but Marvin Jones has a history of doing this to people when he's like that pick for the week, and then he doesn't do shit. Corey Davis at 48%. Sterling Shepard at 44%. Both these guys should be rostered at this point. I know Corey Davis, again, he's got that aura about him that as soon as you play Corey Davis, that's when you're going to get fucked, right? That's when he's going to have 2 targets, 1 catch for 18 yards. So I know that feeling, but right now it just looks like he's too involved in the game plan, to not have him. We'll talk about starting him in the preview show, but if you're looking for wide receivers and you're dropping somebody that's injured or just that's playing shitty, you can grab him. Sterling Shepard, again, number 1 on that team. Not a great team, but they're playing from behind a decent amount, and he's getting the work. So I like Sterling Shepard. And last but not least, I hate to say it, Denzel Mims, because I hate the Jets so much. LaMichael Pirine cost me a fucking game this week. Had I played Gallman, I had the game. I don't know what the fuck Gase is doing. I can't stand it. But either way, he didn't get LaMichael Pirine the ball. And so now, Denzel Mims, same thing. You're going to have Braxton Berrios getting 15 targets when Mims should be getting more. But I think Mims is a guy that you can stash on the bottom of your bench if you're looking for just, another few weeks ahead. Not for this week or anything like that. Just if you're looking ahead, maybe trying to get a jump on a receiver that might be really good. You might be able to get him out there. And then check on Antonio Brown. He's probably already rostered. I didn't even see where he was in percentage. He's probably already rostered, but you might as well give a check for Antonio Brown. Last but not least, we'll talk about a couple tight ends, and then we'll get out of here. So I mentioned San Francisco. We'll see if they activate Jordan Reed and he's going to play. You definitely can play Jordan Reed. He's always a candidate to have a touchdown or two in games where he's healthy and George Kittle's out. If Reed is out, I also think you can play Ross Dwelly. I mean, I'm not like thrilled about it, but you can play Ross Dwelly for sure. He got a touchdown last week, and if Reed is still out, Kittle is out, Debo is out, I'm all right playing Ross Dwelly. Then you got Eric Ebron, just under 50% owned, as I'm saying. He's getting a lot more involved in that offense. It's not like I love it, but once you're past those top 4 or 5 tight ends and you start getting to that 8, 10, 12 range, it's just a big old slop fucking fest down there between guys that you're picking week to week. And I think Ebron is trending up enough that he could be rostered. And last but not least is Dalton Schultz. He was a guy, he trended up, he trended far down. Ben DiNucci looked for him a lot in this game. And, again, I'm not thrilled with the prospects of scoring a lot in Dallas's offense. But if you're going to tell me he's going to be a 7, target kind of guy, then I'm probably going to be okay with playing Dalton Schultz. So, tight ends is what it is. I got to throw you some stuff, though. So, all right. That's it for Tuesday. It's getting a little late. Everyone, keep your head on straight today. Let's not freak out anybody, no matter what happens. It's all good in the hood. We'll still have football. Let's focus on the good stuff and focus on some fantasy football, y'all. All right, so if you're watching on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like, and share. If you're listening, which you can do anywhere where you can listen to podcasts, please, like the show, subscribe to the show. We appreciate it. You can find me on Twitter at Jim Neander. You can find the show at GoatFF Podcast. Have a great day. We'll be back tomorrow with a round 3 ADP audit. We'll see you then. Have a great night, everybody.